Players will be shoveling out justice against the evil order of No Quarter in Shovel Knight Dungeon Duels.
Hey guys, and welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Intern Dan, and today we're going to look at a preview of Shovel Knight. It's designed by Jonathan Phillips Bradford, produced by Panda Cult Games and Yacht Club Games. It's a 1 to 4 player fantasy adventure game with miniatures based on the video game of the same name. We've got a prototype, so let's jump in and take a look.
To set up the game, randomly draw the board tiles and put them in position to create your board. Lay out treasure mound tokens face down on the board and spawn enemies onto the board.
Each player will take the knight of their choice and place their character in one of the leftmost spaces on the board.
On your turn, you get 3 actions, and you can do any of those actions as many times as you want.
You can move, picking up any treasure tokens along the way, and you can also attack an opponent. Any shovels that are rolled will damage or kill the enemy, which will give you gold. You can even fight your fellow knights, which won't damage them, but will push them off your space and maybe even into a spike pit.
You can also try to jump over a spike pit by rolling the die. If you roll enough jump symbols, you'll make it over the pit and you can continue your turn. If you don't roll enough, you'll fall in and you are defeated.
When you're defeated from damage, spike pits, or falling off the board, you lose half your gold. Remove your mini from the board and draw a relic card. You'll respawn at the beginning of the next round.
Those relic cards can give you special free actions that could allow you to attack, move, or both. Each hero also has a special action on their player sheet that can be performed.
If you make it to the space with the merchant, you can buy equipment such as armor and other accessories to help you on your journey.
Once all heroes have taken their turns, the enemies get to move and attack you. If you don't block enough damage by rolling armor, you take damage. If you take too much, you'll be defeated and have to come back the next round.
At the end of the round, remove the leftmost tile from the game and add a new tile to the right side. Any enemies and heroes on the removed tile are defeated and any treasure is discarded.
If you are defeated, you will begin your next turn by placing your hero back on the board. You keep doing this round after round, collecting gold and defeating bad guys. Once you've pulled the last tile from the stack, you can then move off the board and wait for the boss fight.
To fight the boss, place the boss fight tile on the table along with your knights and the boss.
One knight will take his turn, moving and attacking the boss if he can. Any damage dealt will give the hero 2 gold per hit. Then you'll flip over the top card of the boss AI deck, which will tell you where he deals damage and where he moves. Anyone caught in the red spaces will have to roll to defend themselves.
Once each knight has taken a turn, the boss then gets to do his special action to hurt the heroes even more.
The fight continues until you defeat the boss or until the fight times out by going through the AI deck 3 times. Once the boss has been defeated, the hero with the most gold wins. Shovel Knight is a 1 to 4 player dudes on a map adventure game, but it's got this nice little twist where they've really tied in the video game theme and the mechanics, which is pretty cool. A lot of the things going on in this game are not familiar concepts to board games, but are to video games, and they really integrated them pretty seamlessly into this one.
Yeah, I like that. I haven't played the video game for this, but this really tied in well to this general genre, the top-down, side-scrolling video game. From the low-resolution art to those tiles sliding in and pushing you, you constantly had to move forward. Otherwise, you'd fall off the map, or you fall into a spike pit. And that kind of took me back to playing those games where your character dies and you start flashing when you respawn. You have those 2 seconds of invulnerability. So I like the way they tied all that together, and it like you said, nostalgia just really brought it back, and it was a lot of fun.
One of my favorite things is actually the boss fight at the end, so it's not really cooperative. You're going through the level trying to kill bad guys, trying to get as much gold as you can. You get to the end, and then you are cooperatively killing the bad guy, and it felt like a really fantastic flashback to like Mega Man or something, because the boss AI deck actually has him dealing damage to very specific locations in very specific patterns, and once you go through the deck 3 times, you know what those are, and so you can actually kind of memorize, like, okay, I've seen those 2, next time he's gonna go up and left, right, so I gotta get out of the way. And that flashback was a really cool experience, because I was like, oh, I remember how to kill this boss.
Yeah, and with these kinds of games, sometimes they can be a little bit harder to teach. They're a little more involved. This one was really simple. I mean, you're probably going to move, attack, or jump. Like, that's it. And you're just moving through pretty fast-paced turns. I think the longest turn I ever experienced was another guy who used a special move to attack like 5 enemies in the same 2 squares.
The pogo jump thing. Or
yeah,
whatever.
so he's just bouncing around doing these cascading attacks, and he kept winning, so he could kept doing it. But even then, it was action. So I'm watching him do something. I'm not watching him think. And I thought that was nice to have fast-paced turns like that.
Yep. The artwork for the game looks great. It looks very close to the video game on the box art. The card art and everything looks similar as well, which is cool. The sculpts look really sharp. I've seen some painted ones, and they look really cool. It'll be interesting to see what they do with their Kickstarter campaign. They've already gone through it once, so they've learned a lot of lessons, and I think this time it's going to be a really fantastic production on the other side. But check out their stretch goals, because I'm sure they're going to have some really cool stuff in there as well.
Yeah, so if this looks like your kind of game, check it out on Kickstarter and see what they're doing, as Will mentioned. And as always, be sure to follow Tantrum House.
You ready?
Jonathan Phillips Bradford, Panda Cult Yacht Club. Okay.
Yeah. We do the whole thing through. You got it. You had it.
So I'm closing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Video game and some of the mechanics that you have in the game, which really creates this fun little reminiscent words. Nostalgia. That's what I was trying to look for.